Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. Now, I saw a lot of the takes as far as the crowdfunding alliance thing that's going out there. People are like, oh, it's a nothing. It's only for people that are scamming. You know, they're going to try and gatekeep on based on anything else. Okay, you believe that one. I guess you haven't seen this story before. It's only been happening continuously for the last several years all over it's all over business in America. And me personally, I'm opposed to gatekeeping for the most part, because I think keeping people out based on ideology, based on politics, based on anything like that is stupid. I think you should be welcoming to your customers. You should be supportive of your customers. And I think keeping creators out based on differences of opinion on politics or theology or ideology, or the fact that maybe someone's not easy to work with, I say it should be a merit-based system. You bring in the best damn people that you can to give your customers the best damn support or the best damn product that you can put out there. And that's the mindset that I come to this channel and I come to this hobby with. Now you say, but Wes, you don't support Ron Mars. I do not. I'm not trying to gatekeep him out either. I don't say that Marvel and DC should blacklist Ron Mars. I say Ron Mars is an asshole, and I'm personally, with my money as a customer, not supporting it. And as a YouTuber, until he gets on fucking Batman or Spider-Man, I'm not going to highlight his projects. No need to. But I'm not trying to gatekeep him out. I just know that I'm not going to support him. But if other people are out there and they want to support Ron Mars or whoever you want to support, I say go do it. I am not the morality police as far as who should be in and out of comic books. I am a critic that looks at the comic books or looks at the news and gives my opinions. Whether you think I'm a dipshit or whether you think I've got a good point, that's up to you. I leave it up to you guys. But as far as gatekeeping, I do think there should be a gatekeeper. There should be a tastemaker in comic books. I think you'll be surprised when I say it should be the customer, the reader, the fans who support the hobby. And what do I mean by, readers should be the ultimate gatekeeper? I don't think C.B. Cebulski should get to act unilaterally and decide what works and what doesn't work. I don't think Tom Brevoort should have the final say on if a change worked for a character. I don't think that Jim Lee should be the ultimate arbiter of what works in the Batman universe, or who should get to or how the story should be portrayed. I think that the customer should. Obviously, they have leadership responsibilities. They get to greenlight or kill projects as they want, stories that are presented to them. I'm hearing most of the time it's actually presented to the creators. But ultimately, the success should be based on whether fans enjoyed it. Did you get positive feedback? Did your readership grow? It doesn't happen all that often. But did it not dissipate? Did it dissipate slower? Did you sell a lot of comic books? Are people going in heavy on the trades? Things of that nature. It's weird how the fans, in our tastes, in our interpretation, our reaction, our feedback to these products that they're putting out, and they are products. There's money, they're put out there. They cost money. They're entertainment. They are products. This is not, it is an art product, but it is an art consumer product. These guys are not artists, unless you're at like fucking Humanoid where you sell 1,200 copies on a very successful comic book. And putting the wants, needs, and the reactions of the fans behind or on the back burner in comparison to the creators, the leadership, you know, dictating, we're going to be pushing agenda over story. It doesn't matter that the fans didn't respond to this. We're going to push. Oh, more people left the hobby and stopped reading. Push. When people stop buying, when people check out of the book, it's been, the message has been sent. But at Marvel, what they've done is they just said, you know what? We'll just make all miniseries from now on. We won't tell them it's a miniseries, but for the most part, a vast majority of the stuff we put out will be 12 issues or less. We won't even tell you if it's a miniseries. And that way we can give them some hope, because hope brings people back in. We go number 1 on there. We throw an Alex Ross cover, and people buy in until they realize it's absolute dog shit again. And then we can repeat the cycle. We don't have to change. We don't have to listen to the customer that way, because we're able to provide hope. We're able to spike the sales. Very, very limited base. Eventually all their miniseries that they're releasing are going to be under 6 issues, because these cycles get shorter as they go on. And the best analogy I can do, I do wrestling analogies a lot of times on here on the channel. So if you're a WWE fan, I think you'll get what I'm talking about. There was a time when the WWE, WWF at the time, they were in the Monday Night Wars. Wrestling was harder than ever. It was WWF versus WCW, and they had no choice whatsoever than to listen to the fans. When they tried to make Stone Cold Steve Austin a villain, and he stunned the shit out of Santa Claus, and people cheered, and the entire building burst in cheering because they liked the character so much, because he was just no frills badass that was just like anti-authoritarian. Well, they were in a competition with WCW at the time, and they said, you know what, we have to listen to the audience. He'll still do what he's doing, but we'll present it as if it's cool rather than villainous. Shocking. Stone Cold Steve Austin, for a short period of time, ends up being the hottest professional wrestler the world has ever seen. Moved more shirts, made more money for that company than anyone else, and eventually, not only by himself, but as the lead figure, along with The Rock and several other prominent performers, were able to actually defeat WCW. They went out of business and ended up actually buying them. Well, what happens, and we'll go down and do a little story, and you'll potentially see the similarities between the Image 7 and Stone Cold Steve Austin. They bring in Brock Lesnar, one of the hottest young free agents wrestling has ever seen. He was an NCAA champion. He looked like a beast. When you looked at him, he was just a mountain of a man. They bring him in. He's hot. And they call up Stone Cold. They say, listen, on Monday, you're going to lose to Brock Lesnar in a King of the Ring tournament qualifier. I think that's what it was. And he says, are you sure you haven't promoted the match at all? Perhaps we should, promote it for a couple weeks and let people know this is going to happen, and we'll make some money. And he did not show up to work, and he went on a hiatus. He said, fuck this. He took his ball and was going home. Now, eventually, the WWF, WWE, where they are now, did bring him back in the fold. They did acquiesce, but it did not go over well. And it certainly did not sit well with the WWE, because in their minds, they are the star. It's not the performers. It's they get to decide who's over and who's the big star. That's why you get John Cena. Certainly, he sold a lot of shirts to kids and whatnot, but he was presented as the most wholesome babyface character in the WWE for 5 years, as people were booing him out of the building, which obviously gets us to Roman Reigns, who they decided was the ultimate good guy. The Roman Reigns thing is completely stupid, right? There was a moment in time in the Royal Rumble that he was one of the last 3 competitors. I think it was him. It was Bautista. Was it Bray Wyatt? I don't remember. There was a third one in there. And people were cheering their heads off because Daniel Bryan had already been eliminated earlier in the night for Roman Reigns to win. But it had to be Bautista. So they ended up booing Bautista out of the freaking building after Roman Reigns got eliminated. Eventually, they had to bring Daniel Bryan back in because they ended up having to listen to fans on that one. The fans wouldn't take no for an answer as far as him being in WrestleMania. He won the title. But they ended up pushing after this. He keeps winning the Royal Rumble, but after that, nobody wanted him to win. because they didn't give them what they wanted when they wanted. And they just had a hell of a time. Eventually, they ended up turning Roman Reigns evil as a heel. But he was booed for like 5 years straight. Everyone hated him. They didn't hate him because Roman Reigns is a bad wrestler. They didn't hate him because he's ugly. They didn't hate him because he's got a weird looking hand. They hated him because they knew that's who the WWF, WWE, Vince McMahon wanted us to cheer for. It was being dictated. And that's the way it is in every hobby. Nobody wants to be told what they have to do. You present your stories, and we get to decide what is good, what is evil, what gets over, and what doesn't. And that's the problem that we're in within comic books. They don't listen to their customers anymore. When's the last time, fans made their voices heard, let, the comic publishers know that this was working or not working, and it felt like, the plans were adjusted? How much money did DC Comics need to make off of Batman 3 Jokers for the sequel to get greenlit? We know that Jason Fabok, Jeff Johns tried to get in touch with DC. They have plans for a sequel, and they never called him back. Well, that's not what we're doing right now. It doesn't matter that 300,000 people bought the first issue. It doesn't matter that this story got over and people were enjoying it. That's not in the plans. We don't want to do what Jeff Johns is doing. We want to do this new Daniel Cherry, Jim Lee stuff. That doesn't fall in line with Dark Knight's death metal. The stupid Future State bullshit we got. So instead of getting something that people wanted, we got Future State. Terrific. When's the last time Marvel listened to their fans? There's no way, if they listened to the feedback of their readers or looked at the sales numbers of Iron Man, that Iron Man 2020 should have ever been produced. That book was atrocious from day one. It was atrocious all the way up to the beginning of Iron Man 2020. Somehow it got worse all the way through the end of that event. That event should never existed. But Marvel, they're above the fans. They get to dictate to you and I what's important and what deserves these big stories. These events aren't even important anymore. There's no planning on this stuff. It's not like they're like, oh yeah, we're going to all cross over and we're going to have this one big event and then this is what's going to happen out of it. They go, we need an event, let's do an event. Well, if you're going to go with that cycle, just give it to the people that can give fans what they want. I don't want Donnie Cates to write every event, but my goodness, he should be leading a lot of them. Why the hell isn't he on Avengers right now? Like how badly can Jason Aaron suck on that title and just continuously get more and more opportunities? The Avengers has blown donkey dicks since about issue, I can't remember the issue number. I'm going to go with 13. It's about the time that stupid War of the Realms crossover happened. Yet, here we are on issue 50. Kid Thanos is coming over to take the world over. We've had the fucking Age of Khonshu event. We've had the Phoenix tournament, which is absolutely stupid, has produced one of the dumbest, miniseries in recent memory. What is it? Phoenix Song Echo. That thing is absolutely atrocious. Nothing good has come out of any of this stuff. The best thing that you can say about Jason Aaron's Avengers run over the past 2 years is Heroes Reborn wasn't terrible and World War She-Hulk wasn't as bad as it could have been. Huge praises, right? As he, goes and destroys She-Hulk, who they're trying to fix right now. I wonder if we get that Rainbow Rowell She-Hulk story, if we'll still get gargantuan She-Hulk in Jason Aaron's Avengers run. They'll have two different versions. And that'll be them claiming that they're listening to fans while they still have the shitty version in their universe. It gets very, very frustrating that Twitter gets to gatekeep what's good and not good for comic books and even entertainment in general. But the hardworking people that are putting their time and money into this hobby to support these creators and these companies are so far in the distance you can't even see them in the rearview mirror as far as their importance to this whole process. Nobody in comic books, period, is higher than the customers. Nobody. Without customers, there is no industry. Without customers, you can't make money writing comic books. Without customers, you can't make money illustrating comic books. Without customers, you can't make money editing comic books. Without customers, you can't make money being the head motherfucker in charge of DC or Marvel. Without customers, you can't sell comic books at a local comic shop. Without customers, there's no reason to distribute comics. Nobody's voice should be held in higher esteem or heard louder than the customers themselves. How did we get here? What kind of weird backward ass business is this? When's the last time, reader voices were heard? There should be a gatekeeper in comics. It shouldn't be the janitorial staff at Image Comics. It shouldn't be some limp dick pencil pushers at Indiegogo or Kickstarter. It shouldn't be some stupid editors at Marvel or DC that have never written a comic book themselves, don't even know how like a three-act story arc structure works. Have never had a significant part to play in anything that's ever made money. Yet somehow all these people get more say and get gatekeeping opportunities for an industry that's not dying, but it ain't doing great. Twitter mobs get to be gatekeepers, while the people that are out there working their asses off, maybe they're downrange, maybe maybe they're working in an auto factory, maybe they're office workers themselves, but everybody out here is working very hard for the money that they're pouring into this industry to support it and buy these books, the best storytelling medium in all of entertainment. And we don't get the time of day, especially if you don't have the right politics, especially if you're not shilling out for the industry and telling them everything they do is great. Well, everything you're doing isn't great. That's why you're in the state that you're in. Yet you still won't listen to us. You guys will have to explain it to me. As far as I'm concerned, there's one gatekeeper. It's the readers, it's the customers, it's the fans, it's the people putting their hard-earned money out there. But it certainly doesn't feel like that's the way it's playing out. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.